You're following two cyclists as they approach a roundabout in the left-hand lane. Where would you expect the cyclists to go? Any direction. What should you do when you're approaching this crossing? Prepare to slow down and stop. Why do motorcyclists often look round over their right shoulder just before turning right? To check for traffic in their blind area. Why is a toucan crossing different from other crossings? Pedestrians and cyclists can use it together. This junction, controlled by traffic lights, has a marked area between two stop lines. What's this for? To allow cyclists to position in front of other traffic. You're driving in town. Why should you be careful if there's a bus at a bus stop on the other side of the road? Pedestrians might come from behind the bus. You're driving past a line of parked cars. What should you do if a ball bounces out into the road ahead? Slow down and be prepared to stop for children. What does it mean when a moving vehicle is showing a flashing amber beacon? The vehicle is slow moving. The road outside this school is marked with yellow zigzag lines. What do these lines mean? You shouldn't wait or park your vehicle here. What's the purpose of these road markings? To ensure children can see and be seen when they're crossing the road. A horse rider is in the left-hand lane approaching a roundabout. Where should you expect the rider to go? In any direction. What would you do if you see older people crossing the road ahead? Be patient and allow them to cross in their own time. What should you do when you're passing loose sheep on the road? Go very slowly. What action should you take when you see flashing amber lights under a school warning sign? Reduce speed until you're clear of the area. You've driven up to a pelican crossing. What must you do while the amber light is flashing? Give way to any pedestrians on the crossing. Which vehicles should you allow extra room as you overtake them? Bicycle. You see a pedestrian carrying a white stick that also has a red band. What does this mean? They're deaf and blind. What should you do when you see these horse riders in front? Slow down and be ready to stop. What does this sign mean? With flow cycle lane. You want to turn right from a main road into a side road. What should you do just before turning? Check for traffic overtaking on your right. You're turning right from a main road into a side road. There's no oncoming traffic. What should you do if pedestrians are standing on the pavement waiting to cross the side road? Wait and give way to the pedestrians. How should you overtake horse riders? Drive slowly and leave plenty of room. You're approaching a roundabout. What should you do if a cyclist ahead is signaling to turn right? Give the cyclist plenty of room. You're on a country road. What should you expect to see coming towards you, on your side of the road? Pedestrians. You're driving past parked cars. What should you do if you see a bicycle wheel sticking out between the cars? Slow down and be prepared to stop for a cyclist. Why should you allow extra room while overtaking a motorcyclist on a windy day? The rider may be blown in front of you. Why should these road markings be kept clear? To allow children to see and be seen when they're crossing the road. What hazard should you be especially aware of if you're turning left into a side road? Pedestrians. Powered vehicles used by disabled people are small and can be hard to see. What must they display if they're traveling on a dual carriageway? Flashing amber beacon. You're about to reverse into a side road. What should you do if a pedestrian is waiting to cross behind your car? Give way to the pedestrian. You're approaching a roundabout. What should you do if there are horses being ridden in front of you? Give them plenty of room. You're at the front of a queue of traffic waiting to turn right into a side road. Why is it important to check your right mirror just before turning? To check for overtaking vehicles. What should you do if the left-hand pavement is closed due to street repairs? Watch out for pedestrians walking in the road. You see a horse rider as you approach a roundabout. What should you do if they're signaling right but keeping well to the left? Stay well back. Where would you see this sign? On a school bus. What does it mean if you see a pedestrian with a dog that has a yellow or burgundy coat? The pedestrian is deaf. They're harder to see. Why should you look carefully for motorcyclists and cyclists at junctions? They're harder to see. You're about to overtake a cyclist. Why should you leave them as much room as you would give to a car? The cyclist might be unsettled if you pass too near them. Who may use toucan crossings? Cyclists and pedestrians. You're approaching this roundabout. What should you do when a cyclist is keeping to the left while signaling to turn right? Allow them space to turn. At night, what does it mean if you see a pedestrian wearing reflective clothing and carrying a bright red light? You're approaching an organized walk. Why should you check for motorcyclists just before turning right into a side road? They may be overtaking on your right. You're about to overtake a cyclist on a road that has a 30 miles per hour speed limit. How much room should you leave them as you overtake? At least as much room as you would if you were overtaking a car. Which is the most vulnerable road user? Motorcyclist. What does this sign mean? Cycle route ahead. Which sign means that there may be people walking along the road? Where would you see this sign? On the rear of a school bus or coach. Why do motorcyclists wear bright clothing? To make them more visible. What should you do if you want to turn left at a junction where pedestrians have started to cross? Give way to them. Why do motorcyclists use dipped headlights in daylight? So that the rider can be seen more easily. You're driving at night. What should you do if you're dazzled by a vehicle behind you? Set your mirror to the anti-dazzle position. You're waiting to come out of a side road. Why should you look carefully for motorcycles? Motorcycles can easily be hidden behind obstructions. You want to reverse into a side road. What should you do if you aren't sure that the area behind your car is clear? Get out and check. You're traveling on a narrow section of road. What should you do if a horse rider ahead is riding in the center of the lane? Stay behind and allow them to ride in this position. What should you do when you're following a learner driver who stalls at a junction? Be patient, as you expect them to make mistakes. You're following a cyclist. What should you do when you wish to turn left a short distance ahead? Hold back until the cyclist has passed the junction. Which road users are most difficult to see when you're reversing your car? Children. How will a school crossing patrol signal you to stop? By displaying a stop sign. You've just passed your driving test. How can you reduce your risk of being involved in a collision? By taking further training. You're driving in a slow-moving queue of traffic. What should you do just before changing lane? Look for motorcyclists filtering through the traffic. You're driving towards a zebra crossing. What should you do if a person in a wheelchair is waiting to cross? Be prepared to stop. You want to turn right from a junction. What should you do if your view is restricted by parked vehicles? Stop, then move forward slowly until you have a clear view. How should you react to inexperienced drivers? Be patient and prepare for them to react more slowly. Where should you take particular care to look for motorcyclists and cyclists? At junctions. What does this sign mean? You've stopped at a pelican crossing. What should you do if a disabled person is crossing slowly in front of you and the lights change to green? Wait for them to finish crossing. What should you do when you see an older person about to cross the road ahead? Be careful, they may misjudge your speed. As you approach a pelican crossing, the lights change to green. What should you do if older people are still crossing? Wait patiently while they cross. What should you do when you're following a motorcyclist along a road that has a poor surface? Allow extra room in case they swerve to avoid potholes. You're turning left from a main road into a side road. What should you do if there's a pedestrian on the pavement waiting to cross the side road? Wait and give way to the pedestrian. You're traveling behind a moped. What should you do if you want to turn left a short distance ahead? Stay behind until the moped has passed the junction.